We're talking about Chapter 6, Presentment for Payment. Section 70. Section 70. The effect or want of demand on a principal debtor. Presentment for payment is not necessary in order to charge the persons primarily liable on the instrument. But if the presentment is by its term payable at a special place, and he is able and willing to pay there at maturity, such ability and willingness are equivalent to tender payment upon his part. But except as therein otherwise provided, presentment for payment is necessary in order to charge the drawer and endorser. So, just because there is no presentment for payment, it means that the drawer and the issuer or the maker is not liable. But nevertheless, the presentment or the demand of payment, wherein you present the promissory note for collection of payment, is necessary for the ease of transaction. So, because sometimes if you present the promissory note during night time, then otherwise you cannot be able to collect. Section 71. Presentment where instrument is not payable on demand and where payable on demand. Where the instrument is not payable on demand, presentment must be made on the day it falls due. Where it is payable on demand, presentment must be within a reasonable time after its issue, except in the case of a bill of exchange. Presentment for payment will be sufficient if made within a reasonable time after the last negotiation thereof. So, we're talking about negotiable time, meaning, as I have said, at least on the possible convenient time. When we're talking about convenient, always payment is very good to be presented during daytime in your demand, and not at the time that you are so you should present it when it becomes due or a reasonable time after it is issued. After just an issue, if the promissory note was just issued, then you present it, and then there's no common sense in that. Section 72. What constitutes a sufficient presentment? Presentment for payment be sufficient must be made by the holder or some person authorized to receive payment on his behalf at a reasonable hour on a business day, at a proper place therein defined, to the persons primarily liable on the instrument, or if he is absent or inaccessible, to any person found at the place where the instrument presentment is made. So, as I have said, reasonable hour during the business day, proper place, proper time. Section 73. Place of presentment. Presentment for payment is made at the proper place, or a place of payment is specified in the instrument, right? And it is there presented. B, where no place of payment is specified, but the address of the person to make payment is given in the instrument, and it is there to be presented and presented in the address. C, where no place of payment is specified and no address is given, and the instrument is presented at the usual place of business and residence of the person to make payment. If there is no office, then you can go to the residence. Or any other case, presented the person make payment wherever it can be found. If presented this known place of business or residence. Section 74. Instrument must be exhibited. The instrument must be exhibited to the person from whom payment is demanded, and when it is paid, it must be delivered up to the party paying it. You have to show the instrument. Section 75. Presentment where instrument payable at bank. Where the instrument is payable at the bank, presentment for payment will be made during banking hours, unless the person to make the payment has no funds there to make it at any time during the day, in which the case presentment at any hour before the bank is closed on that day is sufficient. Section 76. Presentment where principal debtor is dead. Where the person primarily liable and the instrument is dead, and no place of payment is specified. Presentment for payment will be made to his personal representative if such there to be, and if with the exercise of reasonable diligence he can be found. Section 77. Presentment to persons liable as partners. Where the persons primarily liable instruments are liable as partners and no place of payment is specified, presentment for payment be made to any one of them, even though there has been a dissolution of the firm. Okay, there's the dissolution already of the firm, of the business. This is especially if we're talking about bill of exchange or check. Section 78. Presentment to joint debtors. Where there are several persons of partners primarily liable on the instrument and no place of payment is specified, the presentment must be made to them all jointly and jointly liable. Section 79. When presentment not required to charge the drawer. Presentment for payment is not required in order to charge the drawer, where he has no right to expect or require that the drawee or acceptor will pay the instrument. Okay, self-explanatory. Section 80. When presentment not required to charge the endorser. Presentment for payment is not required in order to charge an endorser where the instrument was made or accepted for his accommodation and he has no reason to expect that the instrument will be paid if presented. Section 81. When delay in making presentment is excused. Delay in making presentment for payment is excused when the delay is caused by circumstances beyond the control of the holder and not imputable to his default, misconduct, or negligence. When the cause of delay ceases to operate, presentment must be made with reasonable diligence. Okay. It's beyond control. During typhoon, during emergency, during Okay, go to section 82. When presentment may be dispensed with. Presentment for payment is dispensed with A. Where after the exercise of reasonable diligence, presentment as required by the cell cannot be made. Where the drawee is a fictitious person, or by waiver of presentment expressed or implied. There's a waiver ready. Section 83. When instrument is dishonored by non-payment. An instrument is dishonored by non-payment where A. It is duly presented by payment and payment is refused or cannot be obtained. B. Presentment is excused and the instrument is overdue and unpaid. So there's no more. There's already dishonored or by non-payment. There is no use for presentment. Section 84. Liability of persons secondarily liable. When an instrument is honored, subject to the provision of this act, the instrument is honored by non-payment, an eventual right of recourse to all parties, secondary liable thereon accrues to the holder. So, first thing, you go to the primarily liable is primarily liable. This the issuer, the drawer, or the acceptor. Then you go to the secondary liable. Section 85. Time of maturity. Every negotiable instrument is payable the time fixed thereon without grace. With the day of maturity falls upon Sunday or holiday, the instrument is payable on the next succeeding business day. Instruments falling due or becoming payable on Saturday are to be presented for payment on the next succeeding business day, except that instrument payable on demand may, at the option of the holder, present for payment before 12 o'clock noon on Saturday when that entire day is not a holiday. Self-explanatory. Section 86. Time how computed. When the instrument is payable at a fixed period after date, after sight, or after the happening of a specified event, the time of payment is determined excluding the date from which the time is to begin to run and by including the date of payment. Section 87. Rule where instrument payable at bank. Where the instrument is made payable at the bank, it is equivalent to an order to the bank to pay the same for the account of the principal debtor thereon. Section 88. What constitutes payment in due course? Payment in due course is it is made at or after the maturity of the instrument to the holder thereof, in good faith and without notice that his title is defective. So that's it. Payment in due course, it is made at or after the maturity of the date. So it's still within the without notice that his title is defective. So that's chapter